see Donald Trump and Joe Biden and all these prime ministers and presidents of Australia and all the world and all these politics are creating these laws in 2021 to make you work to gain plastic money. But guess what? Total recall. What does that mean? It means that in 100 years from now, their grandfathers made them to work for plastic money. You understand? Whereas you never make me work for plastic money, but Daniel Andrews from Melbourne and this woman who has a nose. Either way, I brush every single day. You must understand that they're leaders of some states, but they're teaching their kids to go to government schools and to rely on other people. Understand? And they're leaders today of New South Wales and Western Australia. And they say coronavirus, and they implant their face on the print of the news channels, and they say we will not allow, or as they say that or as I allow everything, but they're saying that they will never allow you to do this and that because they're politics, or as they're stupid scumbags. Understand? Because they're never Jesus Christ. Understand? They're never Jesus Christ, and understand that they just go against the Jesus Christ Bible. Does Jesus Christ go around making a fuss about coronavirus pandemic? Who made that story? Does Jesus Christ go around locking Australia and the world around you today? Do you hear Jesus Christ locking the planet today and never trying to make you travel today, but trying to put you into government schools and trying to put you into all these schools and educations so that you can go and be in loan as well? Or else, does Jesus Christ make you and your family get into a mortgage rate so that you have to give them back $1 million that you borrow from the bank? Does Jesus Christ make you do that? Or else, who makes you do that? Who makes you do that? Or else does Jesus Christ make you get the car loan? Does Jesus Christ open the bank of plastic money in the first place? Does Jesus Christ show up on live television today to make a fuss about something that's fake? Does Jesus Christ show up in front of your doorstep to make your kids go to the army today? Does Jesus Christ do that? Does Jesus Christ says go to Turkey to kill the people there? Does Jesus Christ tell you to run into the Turkey embassy over there and just die? Does Jesus Christ tell you to do that? Does Jesus Christ tell you to go around the world killing people and chucking bombs at people? Does Jesus Christ teach you that? Does Jesus Christ teach you to go to the police and to start blaming everybody? Does Jesus Christ teach you to be a victim and to be on the streets of life? Do you see Jesus Christ ever homeless on the street? Does Jesus Christ teach you anything in life? Guess what? You must never be homeless on the street. Guess what? Understand Jesus Christ. Does Jesus Christ go around trying to assassinate people because they wave at somebody at Sarajevo? Does Jesus Christ start to punish people for their sins? Does Jesus Christ punish you at all in life? Does Jesus Christ come into your home to try to physically abuse your wife or husband in life? Does Jesus Christ come into your church to drink alcohol and do drugs? Does Jesus Christ teach your family to work for plastic money only? Does Jesus Christ teach you to go to government schools and educations and to get yourself in debt? And also to go and be a politic who's against Jesus Christ because they legalize the stupid cigarettes and drugs? Does Jesus Christ legalize this in the planet? Guess what? Or else Jesus Christ legalizes everything in life. Jesus Christ allows you to do or else Jesus Christ allows you to do whatever you want. I understand, although Jesus Christ tells you right now that Jesus Christ never wants you to do drugs. I mean, Jesus Christ himself never wants to do drugs. I'm sure that, do you see Jesus Christ in the Bible drinking the wine and doing drugs and smoking the pot, bro? I mean, does he start masturbating in front of women's faces? In front of the Bible of Jesus Christ? I mean, does he go around having sex with your daughter while you're watching him? I mean, does he have does Jesus Christ have sex with your kids in front of your face? And does Jesus Christ make a porn tape so that you can watch Jesus Christ doing so? Or as now, every single day, you have to understand that when you see Jesus Christ every single day, or as do you start to kill the animals? I mean, do you understand? Or as does Jesus Christ go into the slaughterhouse today to get the pig and pop, into its head? I mean, does Jesus Christ start to get the hammer and boom, into the cow's head? The cow's head. The cow that eats just the grass on the street. Does Jesus Christ go to it to poke it with a knife? Or does Jesus Christ wait for somebody to come feed Jesus Christ with some beef? Or does Jesus Christ go to fish the fish all day long? Does Jesus Christ go to the sports events over there to come and slide tackle your daughter so that Jesus Christ can break her leg? Or does Jesus Christ do that? Does Jesus Christ go to teach your family how to be slaves for plastic money? And does Jesus Christ also go and, let's say, print Jesus Christ's own plastic money to make the world Jesus Christ's slave for plastic money? Or does Jesus Christ allow you to make your own plastic money in life? I'm not sure, yes. Does Jesus Christ put you in jail? And does Jesus Christ beat you with the batana like the police does? Or does Jesus Christ want to win you over in a kind of sport or competition or something? Or as now, you must understand that Jesus Christ is always helping you. Or as now, you must understand that when Jesus Christ does something, does Jesus Christ make a plastic money business? Or do you see Jesus Christ doing the kebab shop and rumming up the beef, man? Or as placing a whole tub of chicken again on it? Or as somebody gave $10 of plastic money so that you can work to do this on the chicken, because that chicken dies for you? Or do you see Jesus Christ working the 9-to-5 jobs today? Or else, I never care what kind of 9-to-5 job it is. Or else, do you see Jesus Christ working as a lifeguard somewhere? Do you see Jesus Christ working in a 9-to-5 job anywhere? Or else now, do you see Jesus Christ ever, let's say, going into your family to murder you and to kill you and to steal from you and your family and to take away your car and your kids and to go above your roof and to burn it all down? Or do you see Jesus Christ doing that? Or do you see Jesus Christ going into a protest somewhere with all these people and against the police? Do you see Jesus Christ doing that? Or do you see Jesus Christ going and arming Jesus Christ with helmets like policemen and shields to go against the protesters and to throw them all in jail and to get the pepper spray? Do you see Jesus Christ doing that? Do you see Jesus Christ pepper spraying your eyes? Or do you see Jesus Christ maybe going and charging your baby that you have right now, in terms of your kids, $50,000 for 1 hour to be with Jesus Christ nail on the toe? Do you see Jesus Christ charging your family $50,000 to see Jesus Christ's hair in life? Do you see Jesus Christ charging $50,000 for the Bible and for what Jesus Christ has given in this world? I mean, do you see Jesus Christ maybe charging you for plastic money, where Jesus Christ makes a seminar of some sort to charge you for plastic money because Jesus Christ values plastic money? Or else now, do you see Jesus Christ going into your life to help you in some kind of way? Or else do you see Jesus Christ maybe going and helping you to realize what Jesus Christ does today? Or else do you feel that Jesus Christ goes on pornography today and starts to have sex with all the porn stars? Or else do you feel that Jesus Christ maybe goes around the world and starts doing Mars, around some type of vision of going to Pluto and galaxies and everywhere? I mean, do you see Jesus Christ doing that? I mean, do you see Jesus Christ going into your life now to try to harass you verbally and to try to call you a hypocrite and to try to be honest with you and also to show you some love and some dedication? I mean, do you see Jesus Christ doing that? I mean, do you see Jesus Christ maybe going to your life to help walk your family into a better way of life? I mean, do you see Jesus Christ maybe understanding the trends today, understanding that whatever the trends are, that Jesus Christ is helping the world today with some information for free? I mean, does Jesus Christ charge at all in terms of plastic money? And does he go and try to make you work like everybody else, to do what everybody else is doing? I mean, is Jesus Christ telling you something here about Jesus Christ, or am I just illusionary? I mean, whatever's happening around the world, I mean, do you understand the power of questions? I mean, do you understand when Jesus Christ makes a story and Jesus Christ helps you with that story every single day? I mean, do you understand that? I mean, do you understand every single day that when you go and make a life coaching video or whatever you want in Jesus Christ's name, that you're doing the best service? I mean, do you understand every single day that whatever you want in life, you can achieve it if you understand Jesus Christ? I mean, does Jesus Christ ever try to punish you? I mean, does Jesus Christ ever try to acknowledge you? I mean, does Jesus... I say yes. Or else now, you must understand that Jesus Christ, or else when Jesus Christ asks you a question, I mean, what kind of question do you believe that Jesus Christ will ask you now? I mean, when you see Jesus Christ, I mean, what do you really feel about Jesus Christ? Or else now, why do you feel that? Or else now, you must understand that when you look at Jesus Christ, for example, or else does Jesus Christ haunt you in some kind of way? Or does he try to make you feel like a victim? Or does he try to make you feel responsible for your life? Or does Jesus Christ make you feel unworthy? Or does Jesus Christ make you feel like you have to achieve something? Or does Jesus Christ make you feel maybe that you have to go into your life to help yourself? Or does Jesus Christ say that you have to walk your own shoes in life? Or does Jesus Christ say that when you go into your life, for example, today, and does Jesus Christ say for you to help other people? Or else now, when you're looking at Jesus Christ, or else does Jesus Christ want to murder you at all? Or else now, when Jesus Christ goes into your life and shows you everything about Jesus Christ, I mean, does Jesus Christ show you himself naked, in terms of nude, or with clothing? Or else now, what's amazing about Jesus Christ is understand that every single day, that you're always much more a blessing, but understanding that Jesus Christ is always showing you much more. I mean, every single day, you must understand that when you're looking at Jesus Christ, I mean, does Jesus Christ go and complain about you and try to blame you and try to victimize you? Does he complain and blame you and make excuses about you and how you came up to Jesus Christ to message him or to do anything for him or because you've done something? I mean, does Jesus Christ tell you that you're worth this amount per hour in plastic money and that's it? I mean, does Jesus Christ go on Amazon and post all these books online today? Or does now, you must understand that Jesus Christ does anything that Jesus Christ can to help you? Or else now, does Jesus Christ go into your life to go and penetrate you so much so that you can go and inspire people? I mean, does Jesus Christ go and make sure that every single day that you're just doing something that's going to help people? I mean, does Jesus Christ go and really deliver on Jesus Christ's message? I mean, does Jesus Christ make sure every single day that you go and focus upon your life so that you can do your best? I mean, does Jesus Christ make sure that you are really opening up the gaps in your life so that you can plan in questions? I say yes. I realize that what's amazing about Jesus Christ is understanding that when you're really using Jesus Christ as a tool, do you believe that you are traumatized with Jesus Christ in your name? Whereas now, when you look at Jesus Christ, I mean, what kind of 3 aspects of life do you have about Jesus Christ? Name and why. Whereas that when you understand Jesus Christ, that when you look at Jesus Christ, I mean, what are the 5 tips that you can give me about Jesus Christ? Or as every single time you look at Jesus Christ, I mean, do you feel necessary to be more like Jesus Christ today? Or as now, if you're going to be like Jesus Christ, and let's just say that you are, I mean, what are the 5 and 10 tips that you can give me about Jesus Christ that helps you become better than yesterday? Or does Jesus Christ help you interview yourself? Or else now, when you're sitting in front of people, or else do you see Jesus Christ with you? Or else now, when you're paranoid and when you're schizophrenic and when you're doing something that's a problem of life, I mean, how do you believe that Jesus Christ can solve that? I mean, when you're asking questions in a video, I mean, how do you feel about Jesus Christ? I can say every single day that when I really ask questions every single day with Jesus Christ's name, I follow upon it in terms of what Jesus Christ is doing. I realize now, I promise you, every single time you look at Jesus Christ, I realize, does Jesus Christ go being the center of attention playing sports? Does it Novak Djokovic and or does Jesus Christ go with the tennis racket? Or is now either way, or does Jesus Christ go and start scoring goals against your daughter to win the competition and to win you in a game of chess? I mean, does Jesus Christ go playing poker and gambling on horses who are getting whipped? I mean, does Jesus Christ make it more obvious about what Jesus Christ is, or is Jesus Christ lying? I mean, do you believe the story of the Bible is something of high mediocre, or is it something above average? Whereas now, if you understand that when you look at the Bible, I mean, is it something that you need in life, or is it something that you just feel that it destroys you? Whereas now, when you're asking questions for people so that you can understand something for yourself only, I mean, what kind of questions come into mind where you can go and help people in different conservative ways? So every single time you see a tsunami wave, I mean, what do you believe about yourself? I mean, every single time you understand that when I ask you a question, I mean, what does Jesus Christ believe about a tsunami in life? I mean, what does Jesus Christ believe about my questions that I'm asking you? Whereas now, when Jesus Christ answers every single time, I mean, what does Jesus Christ really tell you in one message? I mean, what are the best questions that you can ask Jesus Christ every single day? And how can you really focus upon those videos that you do in a different way where you can just ask questions in your videos? Whereas now, when you're asking questions about life, I mean, what's the best question? Whereas when you're strategizing around videos, I mean, how do you really strategize? Whereas every single time I ask you questions, I'm here to train you. So when I'm training you, I mean, how does Jesus Christ train you? Whereas now, when I'm doing anything, or as when I'm doing anything to help support you, I mean, how is Jesus Christ, or else how is Jesus Christ supporting you? I mean, every single day that when you focus upon something that's, let's say, a question, I mean, how do you plan to unlock your life in terms of life, and how do you plan that people are going to help your life in Jesus Christ's name? Or else every time you ask people questions more and more, how do you feel Jesus Christ shows you in that scenario what you must do every single day to focus upon life? Or else every single day that you ask questions and questions and questions in front of videos like this, how do you feel that you can really penetrate Jesus Christ? Or else every single time that when you go and really deliver upon these smart questions that I ask, how do you believe that Jesus believes about smartness, and how do you believe that he, in terms of life, can see what you are asking? Or else that when you're asking questions, or else are you negative or positive when you're asking questions? Or else every single day that when you do something that's really going to help people, how are you really doing that in Jesus Christ's name today? Or else every single time that you go and really strategize around your life, how do you feel about making sure that you can succeed in the way that you're working a 9-to-5 job, but that you're also making sure that you're progressing throughout life in different ways by also marketing yourself silently so that you can go and do it in Jesus Christ's name, but be single while people are disliking you? What do you believe Jesus Christ can do here? Every single time that you go and really ask yourself questions about life, how do you believe that you can go and open up your life with questions? When you're taping yourself every single day, how does it feel to be asking questions while you're actually just doing you? Or else every single time, I understand that when I'm really doing these kind of videos, I'm always just pronunciating myself in a better way so I can help you. Or else now, when you're looking at videos, for example, how do you feel when a woman looks at you in Jesus Christ? How do you feel when a man or woman looks at you in terms of life? And how do you feel about their persona with Jesus Christ? How do you believe your community around you is helping Jesus Christ today? Or as now, for example, when I'm going so fast with questions, how do you believe Jesus Christ answers these questions? Or as now, when I'm really asking these questions, I'm trying to unlock myself and I'm trying to do something for myself here so that I can help you. Or as every single day, I understand that when I go and do these questions, I understand that when you look at Jesus Christ, for example, how does Jesus Christ ask questions? Or is it every single day that you have something of high caliber in your life where you can go and really be a magnificent type of individual every single day to unlock all the questions of your life so that you can answer better awareness type techniques, so that you can understand every single day that there's always more to ask around. But when you're asking questions, how are you supporting Jesus Christ with those questions? Whereas now, when you have a lot on your mindset, how does Jesus Christ help solve those questions? Whereas now, when you're really smart every single day and you always answer questions every single day and you're following your heart and you're doing something amazing every single day, how do you feel when you're asking questions much more in the video and so that you can help people? I can say every single time that when I really dwell upon living my life in Jesus Christ, I go back to the word I. Whereas now, since you understand where you're coming from, how do you understand the word I? What is the word I? What does Jesus Christ do with the word I? Does Jesus Christ know the word I? Now, since I understand every single day that I go and really support myself here, do you understand the word I is you? Whereas now, understand every single day that when you're really focusing upon yourself now, you understand every single day why Jesus Christ is doing this life. Every single day focus upon all the questions of the world, and how can you really unlock how can you really unlock yourself with what you're saying? I promise you, every single day, focus upon your life and understand that now, since I have all the questions that I've ever asked in this video, I understand every single day I'm always asking more questions. So when I'm asking more questions, how do you plan to be much more present with Jesus Christ today? Or else every single day, that if you practice to just go on a video and just ask people these questions in a different way, you understand why you can also unlock your mind. I promise you, although, that when I ask you these questions, I also ask myself those questions. I promise you now, since I'm always asking these questions, I promise you now, I feel I've unlocked in terms of I have a much more better awareness of Jesus Christ in my life. Whereas now, since I'm asking you all these questions, how do you feel Jesus Christ feels about Danny Milivojevic? Every single day I focus upon asking myself questions because I hear God's whispers. I understand that when I really ask questions every single day, I focus upon understanding that there's always more to give you. Whereas that when I give you much more than yesterday, I focus upon understanding how can I unlock your mindset with questions. Whereas now, every single day, a question is something of a light bulb, like Thomas Edison. Whereas now, Thomas Edison goes around and making a light bulb, but makes 1,000 mistakes. Whereas what does Jesus Christ do with 1,000 mistakes over here? Now, when Jesus Christ is teaching people, or as Jesus Christ is teaching people in parables and in questions and statements, whereas now when Jesus Christ asks a question over here, whereas that what happens is I implant in you some type of nice beautiful theory about life. I understand, although, that when you look at Thomas Edison in terms of life, and now the nice beautiful what you never do remark, what does Jesus Christ really feel that you must understand in the words what does Jesus Christ really understand in the words what you never do in life? How does Jesus Christ go about teaching you the strategy of Danny Milivojevic, where Danny Milivojevic goes about life, teaching what you never do, because that's what Danny Milivojevic believes is success? What does Jesus Christ believe about understanding that when you go and do also what you never do remarks, that you'll go stay away from all these aspects of life to create time and financial aspects of your life in a better way, where you can have more finances and more time management skills so that you can support Jesus Christ and everybody? How do you feel that you go and understand every single day to ask those questions so people can go and unlock that for themselves, so that you can teach them exactly through questions how to really do what Danny Milivojevic is doing? Guess what? Is that when you understand Danny Milivojevic, you understand Jesus Christ. Every single day, that when you understand how I unlock people's mindsets, I go into asking their questions. I ask the questions for them so that I can go and ask the questions for I only. Whereas now, when Jesus Christ is asking questions, I realize, who is Jesus Christ doing it for? Whereas now, Jesus Christ is always doing it for the word I. Understand? Whereas now, understand either way that when Jesus Christ is going and lifting you right now, everybody is the word I. Whereas now, where is Jesus Christ taking us over here? Jesus Christ is showing us, you need to support a greater good. Now, when Jesus Christ supports a greater good, how is Jesus Christ enabling you to understand that what you never do is something that is success? Every single time that you understand that now, you can actually see that Jesus Christ is showing you over here that when you go in the words of what you never do, you'll find something remarkable. Jesus Christ is showing you here that if you go and really unlock your mindset over here, to understand that if you stay away from most places of life, you will just create more success. Now, if you understand that Danny Milivojevic goes around and starts to really stay away from most of life, in terms of stays away from certain people and stays away from certain places in the world, and stays away from all these situations, but goes around and starts writing in a journal every single day about what you never do, and just in terms of the nice, beautiful Thomas Edison remark of 1,000 mistakes. And anything that's a mistake is what you never do. Whereas now when Jesus Christ goes about life and starts really doing what Jesus Christ never wants to do, I mean, do you believe that Jesus Christ finds more success in that? Or else do you believe Jesus Christ goes around the world making everything happen in a way that you understand that you go and find a better technique, to understand that you can always go and pronunciate a better way? So for example, when you go and realize that Jesus Christ does what you never do, in a way that you understand that we're always going to talk about it differently, because that's the whole case scenario, that you understand the light bulb. Rosh, every single day you must understand that the light bulb of Jesus Christ is something that is never a mistake. Rosh, now if you understand how Jesus goes about life, I mean, do you understand how to teach yourself through questions and understanding every single day that, understanding every single day that when you ask questions, I mean, do you understand to ask those questions about what you never do? Or else, what do you never do in life? Or else, I mean, I want to understand your success. So when I understand your success, I mean, how do you go about life in terms of what you never do so that you can be more successful? Whereas now, when you go about life in terms of what you never do, I mean, what kind of aspects of life do you stay away from so that you can teach me about those ideas so that I can stay away from them as well? I mean, do you understand what Danny Milivojevic is doing now? Whereas Danny Milivojevic has all these thousands and hundreds of ways and thousands of millions of ways of ideas about what you never do, because it's all written in Danny's journal. I mean, you understand? And all you have to do is just read Danny's journal about what Danny Milivojevic never does, so that you can also do the exact same as Danny Milivojevic, so that you can get the exact same results as Danny Milivojevic. I mean, you understand? Whereas now, what does Jesus Christ tell you about the Bible of Jesus Christ when you see the 10 Commandments, for example? Or else, does Jesus Christ show you here what you never do in the 10 Commandments? Or else now, when Jesus Christ says, thou shalt not kill, or else, is that what you never do? Or else now, why is that? Or else now, you have to understand, it's because that if you go killing somebody, or else now, you have to understand it's more, look at Jesus Christ, and why are thousands of people killing Jesus Christ? I mean, how does Jesus Christ make sense of this? Because you have to understand, it's really understand that when you make much more sense, you make much more sense like Jesus Christ, because when you make much more sense like Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ never has to come into your family and kill everybody from your life. Whereas now, if Jesus Christ comes and kills people from your life, that means that you have just you, but then understand that Jesus Christ wants you to be you, but never wants to kill other people, because Jesus Christ understands that you love those people and that you just want to lift them, and that you just want to be able to be much more like Jesus Christ, because it's much better when 1,000 people kill you rather than you killing 1,000 people. I mean, do you agree? Whereas now, understand either way that when you understand Jesus Christ and the favor of God, whereas now, you must understand every single day when you're really asking those questions every single time, you have to understand the word I. Whereas every single time you understand the word I, whereas why does Jesus Christ say never cut the word I out? Whereas now, because Jesus Christ asked that question about life, I mean, who is I? I mean, what is I? Whereas now, I is everything. I mean, I is the eternal life of being. I mean, I is whatever you say I is. Whereas now, if you understand that, Rosh, now, how does Jesus Christ describe Jesus Christ? I can just say I. I is I. Whereas now, if you understand that when Jesus Christ goes about life and is teaching you something about everything, I mean, how does Jesus Christ show you here that Danny Milivojevic is doing life with what you never do, so that Danny Milivojevic has the results, do you see? Whereas now, when Danny Milivojevic goes into a Bible or whatever in terms of life, whereas he tries to seek out as many ways of life that he can stay away from to be successful. Whereas now, every single day, that when you look at Danny Milivojevic, whereas Danny Milivojevic has all his results because he stays away from eating meat, for example, because Danny's a vegan. Whereas Danny Milivojevic stays away from the thousands of food in the supermarket, because Danny Milivojevic goes on to 10 basic foods that Danny Milivojevic may eat. But then Danny Milivojevic saves some time in the process because Danny Milivojevic understands exactly what he's eating every single day. But people who are, let's say, fat, or people who are overweight, for example, whereas everybody's fat, but I understand that Danny Milivojevic sees that it's much more easier to eat 10 foods than millions of foods. I mean, now, by the time you walk to the millionth aisle in life, I understand that Danny Milivojevic sees that it's so far to drive to get a Kit Kat every single day and to drive 20 minutes to get a Kit Kat. I mean, Danny Milivojevic shops once a day because Danny Milivojevic sees that it's really understanding that if you go shop one day at a time, that you shop max in terms of give $15 a day max to eat something, but something that is really something that you never have to cook, or let's say have a toast, in terms of to have a toaster. But to have a toast in life, that's success and celebration is nice, but understanding that when you look at the refrigerator, why does Danny never carry a refrigerator around and never go to all these aisles of the restaurants and all these places around the world? Because he has something. Or else now, what does Danny Milivojevic have in life? Or else now, when you understand that Danny Milivojevic has time, or else now you must understand that it's really, when you're really asking these questions, you're just looking to pronunciate it better. Or else every single day you have to understand, I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic never go to all these aisles and all these places, such as restaurants and stuff like that? I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic never ever try to own a refrigerator and a plasma screen TV and an elephant in life? I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic never own a car in the first place? I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic just use an Uber, for example? I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic go and do what you never do in life? I mean, when Danny Milivojevic goes and seeks out something of life, I mean, why does he go into Twitter and the news trends, for example, and all these places online where there's information? I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic want to be successful for? I mean, when you look at Danny Milivojevic, or does every single day he looks a certain way, but why is Danny Milivojevic so comfortable in terms of how he looks? Whereas now, I'm so comfortable with the way I look because I understand Jesus Christ's muscles. I mean, do you understand? Or else, now, understand that either way, that when you look at people, or else that you understand sometimes people go around the world and they travel and they never get what they want. Or else now, when you look at Jesus Christ, or else Jesus Christ goes around the world, but he gets what he wants. Or else now, why is that? Or else why does Jesus Christ get what he wants, but other people never get what they want? Or else now, you have to understand, or you have to ask the question, or else isn't the information product of Jesus Christ, or is it because the other people who never get what they want are just smarter than Jesus Christ? Or else now, when you're looking at Jesus Christ, or else is he smart for you to understand that what he wants, he gets? Or else now, you have to understand that when Jesus Christ goes in the Bible and before he even gets the disciples to come with him, or else is Jesus Christ confident in himself to be able to do that? I mean, how does Jesus Christ get that confidence to be able to go to 12 disciples to follow him for the next 10 years? I mean, you have to understand either way that what's amazing about Jesus Christ is understanding his whole life story. I mean, isn't it? I mean, when you go and delve in the Bible, I mean, what's the first parable of the Bible that you recognize? I understand for myself in terms of the first parable in terms of life where I understand that Jesus Christ came into my life first. Actually, that's the first one. I mean, how did Jesus Christ come into your life? I mean, through ideas. I mean, you have to understand either way. Or else what's amazing is when you add questions and answers and statements and formats. I mean, what kind of formats and files and PDF files and also Word documents can you make about Jesus Christ? I mean, how can that make you an expert and a professional in some kind of field where you're strategizing to ask questions in your videos so that you can life coach like that? Or is that every single time you do this, or is that you'll make people smarter because you're opening up the gaps for them to think about these questions, because you're somebody who's asking those questions for them, so that they see you asking those questions, and then they will be going and asking those questions in a different format, because they see you doing it, and then you can do it on a video, and then you can just keep creating those videos of questions like I am today. Or as either way, or as what's amazing, and then once you understand that why Danny Milivojevic asked these questions, I mean, you understand why does Jesus Christ ask these questions. I mean, now, if you're linking all these nice, beautiful techniques and ways and strategies to ask all these formats, I mean, what kind of formats interest you about traveling and about metaphors and about vocabulary, in terms of vocabulary, and how does Jesus Christ connect all these words together to make a parable and to make a sentence and to make a big tsunami of wave files that you can go and give to people that can help Jesus Christ and everybody to succeed. And when you're doing that, how does Jesus Christ understand that this big tsunami of files and all these nice beautiful words of wisdom that you have to give people, I mean, how does that really spark interest when you're asking questions? I mean, when you're open to asking questions and you're open to asking anything you ever want, I mean, how do you succeed upon Jesus Christ and understanding how to give what that is? I mean, understand every single time that when you're really dwelling upon life and you want to teach skills, I mean, how do you teach people through questions, and what do you do through statements? I mean, every single time that when I ask questions and I do statements like this, I promise you Jesus Christ also teaches me here that I can go and do that, because it opens up my channels of communication. I mean, now, how do you understand that when you really ask questions upon training videos like this, and you go and create them for yourself, and then understand that, for example, with Jesus Christ, I mean, do you believe Jesus Christ goes around making these videos so that people can unlock their vibe in terms of questions and in terms of life theories and in terms of life coaching strategies, so that you can help everybody? I mean, how does Jesus Christ understand that every single day that when you really go and ask all these questions that I'm asking, I mean, how does it relate to you and your family and the hyenas? I mean, how does Jesus Christ look at the hyenas and all the non-human animals and Tarzan and Wonder Woman? I mean, how does Jesus Christ make sure that everything around the world is vegan and that everything around the world is fulfilling in a way of God? Whereas now, when you're understanding the word God, I realize what kind of words pop up into your mindset, because you have to understand it's the word I that's very important. So what kind of words out there can really manage God? Whereas now, when you find the actual word of life, which is I promise you, what is the actual word of God that can actually help people every single day? I promise you every single day that when you're really finding that word I in life, I promise you every single day that when you look at Jesus Christ, I mean, how is he helping people with the word of God? I mean, also, how is Jesus Christ helping people with the word I? And how do you find that connection theory about life in terms of the breaks in your sentences and about life and vocabulary that you have? I mean, how do you find a strategy where you can go and ask these questions in the videos so that people can go and learn from you about life? I mean, how do you find the time to devote yourself into Jesus Christ's name today? I mean, how do you find ways to understand that when you're really dwelling upon life and you're teaching people and audiences and life coaching techniques for free, where people are trying to charge you in terms of plastic money, but you're doing it for free because why? Whereas now, when you're doing it for Jesus Christ, I mean, how does that make you feel when you do it for Jesus Christ? Whereas now, when I do it, for example, I do it for the word I understand that the word I is something that is Jesus Christ. Now, I understand who I do it for. I understand that now, when you do it for somebody, I mean, who are you doing it for? I mean, understand that when Jesus Christ goes and dies on the cross, or else Jesus Christ is doing it for you. I mean, there's an whereas now, when I go and do anything in life, whereas that when I die on the cross, I die for I, because that's how I really die for you. Whereas now, when Jesus Christ comes here Or as now, Jesus Christ says, I came here for you. Or as now, although, what's the first word that was in that sentence? I came here for you. Or as now, did Jesus Christ say, you came here for I? I mean, you have to understand now, why did Jesus Christ really die on the cross? I mean, it's the word I. Or as now, why is the first word I? I mean, why do you put yourself first? I mean, now, understand that when you're asking these questions, you're going to break up these modules and all these communicational barriers that people have. And that's the most powerful way to do anything in life. Or as now, either way, you must understand that when people are so loud in terms of walking everywhere, I mean, why is Jesus so quiet when he walks everywhere? Or as now, when Jesus Christ never wants to do so much noise around people, or as when Jesus Christ wants to make everybody sleep at night, and Jesus Christ never wants to sound like an elephant walking around the house. I mean, why is that? I mean, I understand that Jesus Christ loves everything, but when you're asking a Jesus Christ method in life, I understand, although every single day, focus upon understanding that when you're really, really going about life, I mean, every single day, focus upon understanding how can you break the intervals of your life and make the best music on the planet and do something that Jesus Christ does. I promise you now, if you're making life coaching videos every single day and you're focusing upon questions, I mean, how are you helping God today to understand those questions? I promise you now, are these questions very powerful in your life? I mean, you have to understand that when Jesus Christ comes into your life and asks anything, I mean, what kind of questions pop up into your head today? I mean, do you believe I care about you because I'm asking these questions? I mean, every single day, does Jesus care about you when Jesus is asking you these questions? Or now, every single day, understand that when we're becoming much more spiritual in life, I mean, how are you actually becoming more spiritual in a way that you're helping people around you, but you're focusing upon making sure that you have the time management you need daily so that you can teach yourself, because Danny Milivojevic understands over here that you have to teach yourself this. But Danny Milivojevic is asking the questions over here so that you can answer them. I mean, how do you find these nice, beautiful questions where you can think for yourself and do something by yourself? So Danny Milivojevic never has to do it for you, but Danny Milivojevic can help answer these questions in a way that he's asking you only so that you can answer them for yourself. Whereas now, when I ask these questions all day long, I help unlock your mindset. I mean, how do I help unlock your mindset in a way that I'm asking questions so much that predict a specific field of interest that I want you to really be the best in? I mean, when I ask you these questions, I mean, how do I pick apart your mindset right now so I never have to be with you in person, but you can just watch these videos and it can be a new series of life where I'm just asking you questions. I mean, how do you feel that Danny Milivojevic makes a series of how-to questions or something like that, where I can ask all these questions in just one playlist of YouTube and Mega Drive, where you can find all these questions and more of thousands of videos about just questions? I mean, how do you feel about Danny Milivojevic doing that? I mean, how do you feel that you understand that when Danny Milivojevic needs your support, for example, and he needs you to go and support him and all that? But I understand Danny Milivojevic never needs you because Danny Milivojevic has Jesus Christ. But do you have the pleasure and serenity that Jesus Christ gives you every single day? And do you focus upon helping Danny Milivojevic in a way that you can go and ask yourself how to help Danny Milivojevic in a way that you can go and share Danny Milivojevic around Jesus Christ and everything about life, so that everybody else can also get these questions, so that Danny Milivojevic can prosper, and so that we can all prosper, because Danny Milivojevic is also helping you today with these questions and wants to also help you much more. I mean, how do you feel about helping people and sharing them around and making sure they understand how I break up these questions as well, so they understand how I can life coach you just through questions? I mean, do you feel that you're becoming much smarter because Danny Milivojevic is here and because Jesus Christ is here? I mean, how do you feel that Jesus Christ is teaching you, and how do you feel about Danny Milivojevic teaching you also? I can say, for example, with myself, I can only ever teach you because Jesus Christ is here. I mean, my knowledge is all Jesus Christ. Whereas now, every single day, you must understand that what's happening every single day is focusing upon your life in a way that you're helping Jesus Christ. Because when you're helping somebody like Jesus Christ, you're helping everybody. Roshi, every single day, you must understand that now, since you understand who you are even better, Roshi, go and ask yourself much more questions so you can go and dwell upon life. Whereas now, when you dwell upon life in a different way, Roshi, now, when you're asking all these questions and theories of coaching people, how are you unlocking people's mindsets through those questions and strategies? And how do you get the most questions in an hour? Now, when you're asking all these questions, is it much better to physically write these questions that I'm asking you, or is it much better to go and do on a video where you can do it as a coaching strategy? Whereas now, what's better? Is it better to physically talk it out, or is it physically writing it? Or what's much better? Or is physical writing better than what? What's much better? Is it the physical writing of life is going to help you, or is it going to be the life coaching videos? What's much better in terms of life, in terms of the video or physical writing? Whereas now, for example, with the video, I understand I'm physically talking with the video, but also I can physically write the video and never have my face on the video. What's much better for you in terms of life? Because I understand Danny Milivojevic rather just be on the video camera, and he'd rather just be on the image while he's talking like this, because he understands that it's much more of a faster way to do this. But have you ever done this for yourself in life? And why do you believe that Danny Milivojevic believes that asking these questions on a video is much more faster and appropriate than actually physically writing it? Or now, why does Jesus Christ believe that Danny Milivojevic is doing great over here in a way that Jesus Christ also wants to show his face in a way, in terms of the video camera rather than physically writing it? Do you believe that Jesus Christ has already written the Bible, so why not put Jesus Christ on the video? Every single day, focus upon understanding how can you make common sense with Jesus Christ today, and how can you relate all your questions today in a video 1 hour daily, so that you can help answer a different playlist in your YouTube account, where you can go and also create what Danny Milivojevic is doing. Now, if you understand these questions, how does it really help you to precipitate in terms of, how does it help you to understand and precipitate in a way that you're loving your life, but understanding that you're a blessing in Jesus Christ every single day, so that you can go and be a foundation of joy? How do you understand every single day that when you break apart all these questions, how does it really help you move forward? When you focus upon something, how does it really help you every single day to understand that you have to be ahead of the game in whatever you're doing? So when you're asking questions, how do you understand that no matter what you're doing, that you're loving life every single day, so that you can focus upon charging your technology, but also making sure that you go and do the best you can every single day upon what you're doing? How do you understand that Jesus Christ goes and does the best aspects of life about everything, so that you can have what you want? When you're asking all these questions, you're unlocking the power of you're unlocking the power of within you when you're asking all these questions in a way that you're just solidifying yourself. Whereas now, when you're solidifying yourself, how do you go back into yourself to ask a question? Where do you start from? Where do you start from when you ask the word question? I is the word question. Whereas now, when you're asking the word question, whereas when you're going in yourself, how do you understand your word I? You have to understand the word I every single day is just the word I. Whereas now, every single day, that when you're going and really dwelling upon the Jesus Christ favor and everything that you want, what is the one word of life? Whereas now, why is it that word? Why is it the word in terms of life where you're saying the word I? Why is it that kind of word where you can go and dwell upon that word daily in a way that you're communicating in the word I? Why does Jesus talk with the I first and also end with the word I? I mean, why do you believe that Jesus here is having the brackets where you can understand that you can just talk in any kind of manner, but just come back to the word I? Whereas now, when you're coming back to the word I mean, how does it feel for you to start the first sentence with your I all the time? I mean, now, when you understand that when you see that question, I mean, how does it feel when you end the sentence just with I all the time? I mean, how does it feel now that the question is the bracket? I mean, now, since I asked that, I mean, guess what? I was that now, since you have two I's over here and the question in the middle, I was now, why does Jesus Christ do what he does with those questions? Whereas now, every single day that when you ask yourself questions about life, I mean, how do you understand that two goalposts, which is the word, you have to understand, I mean, what word is it? Or is that the two brackets of life is the word? I mean, every single day you must understand that nice, beautiful word there is something that helps you, but you have to understand it in a way that you understand who you are now. I mean, now you understand who you are. So now we're going to really understand who we are. I promise you now, if you understand who you are now, I mean, what word is it? I promise you now, if you understand now that I'm helping to unlock you right now in a way that you can answer all these questions yourself. I mean, what is the best answer in life in terms of one word that you can understand to describe in terms of who you are? I mean, why is it the word I? I mean, now, why is that the best answer of life? And why is Jesus Christ telling you to never cut the word I out? I mean, why does Jesus Christ care about you so much that he understands that he loves you? Alright, now, when Jesus Christ came here today, alright, now, why did Jesus Christ come here exactly? I mean, Jesus Christ came here because Jesus Christ wants to help I. I mean, now, everybody's the word I. I mean, now, every single day, that when you look at everything around you, I mean, what are you looking at? I mean, you're just looking at the word I. I mean, now, since you understand how to focus and how to concentrate and how to also manage your time and how to also increase your confidence so that you can go and reach out to the disciples like Jesus Christ does, because Jesus Christ starts with the word I promise you every single day that you understand now that when you're using any type of word in the planet, I mean, what kind of word are you using? I mean, every single day you must be using that word. That word is the word I promise you every single day you understand that when you really go and dwell upon that word, which is, I mean, you understand now who you are, and that's how Danny Milivojevic goes about his life. But that's how Jesus Christ came here, because of I mean, does that make sense? I mean, Jesus Christ came here for I mean, Jesus Christ came here for your I as well. Whereas now, understand that everybody's I promise you, although understand now that when I really understand who I am, I know my word I only. I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic say, I just know my word I only? I mean, why does Danny Milivojevic add the only? I promise you, although understand that now, since Danny Milivojevic is teaching you over here about life, I mean, why is he saying, I know my word I only? I promise you now, if Danny Milivojevic starts to know everything in life, I mean, does Danny Milivojevic start to miss the word I over here? I promise you now, that's why Danny Milivojevic just knows the word I only, and that's why Danny Milivojevic says, I know nothing else except for the word I. Alright, now, since you understand how to really live life and how to grow like Jesus' name now, I promise you, you must understand that the only word that you must know is, alright, now, that is the only word that you must know. I promise you, there's nothing else that Danny Milivojevic is teaching you other than making sure that you understand a better correspondence in a way of different questions. Brushing now, when I'm understanding to ask you these questions, brushing now, how does Danny Milivojevic communicate in different ways? Brushing now, when Danny Milivojevic communicates in different ways, you must understand that he uses the word I to simplify everything. Brushing now, when you're simplifying everything, I mean, why does Jesus Christ go around saying that water bowl is I, and that portable speaker is I, and that TV is I, and that mother of yours is I, and the world is I, and God is I, and everything that I see is I? Alright, now why is Jesus Christ pointing over here to the word I? Alright, now Jesus Christ wants you to understand that you must know your word I only. Alright, now when you understand who you are now and what you see is I, which is I also, alright, now I, which is you and I, which is just I, alright, now I am watching I in this video. Alright, we are both I. Alright, now since we understand that, alright, everything is the word I. Alright, although that's how we just be. Alright, we just be that way. Alright, now understand either way that when Jesus Christ comes from this point and says, "Do you understand your lesson now?" Do you know who you are? Understand now that since you understand this question, why does Daniel Milovojevic go into the word Bible and everything in the Word of God and go into the journal of life to write all these word I's in the videos and everything that Danny is doing by coming back to the I, by communicating the word I much more, because Danny just knows the word I. Why is Danny actually going and filling up all the journal with every single word that he can with the word I, as much as he can? Because why? I understand every single day that when I go and increase the word I become much more confident. Whereas every single day, that now, since you understand what Danny does in his journal, and you understand the nice, beautiful vocabulary of life, which is, just the word I. What is the only word in a dictionary that you have to really know? It's just the word I. What is the only vocabulary of life that you have to actually know? It's just understand that. Just understand the word I. Now, every single day, that when Jesus comes here and sees all these words and all this vocabulary inside of the dictionary and Google, but that's something that you have to connect together. Whereas now, when you're understanding that when you connect all these words together, whereas that now you can use more words with the word I. Whereas now, just because you connect the words together doesn't mean, or it never means that you know the word. Whereas now, you must understand that only word you must know is word, or is the word I. Whereas now, when Danny Milovojevic goes connecting all these vocabulary words, whereas that Danny Milovojevic may have tens and thousands of vocabulary in Danny's mindset, where he can pull out all these words and functions to spell out different words in different times, that is never the word I. I promise you, although, that everything is the word I. I promise you now, why is Danny teaching you the contradiction of life over here? Because I is the word everything, but everything is also never the word I. Do you understand the contradiction in theory here? I promise you, I is everything, but also everything is never the word I. How can everything be the word I when it's spelled E-F and all that? Or in terms of E-V and all that. I promise you, every single day, I promise you, although, understand that's the contradiction that Danny is talking about. I promise you, although, when you're understanding why is Danny teaching you third person over here? Because Danny wants to teach himself over here something as well. I promise you, when I'm teaching myself over here, I'm asking myself in third party questions so that I can teach you from a different perspective about what I can tell you, in terms of what I can teach you. Whereas now, when Danny looks at the nice, beautiful vocabulary of life, I promise you, Danny has 50 million vocabulary words in life, because everything is the word I. There's so much more words that we can make from those words. Or else there's so much more words that we can make from all the words. Or else we can make it up. Or else, although everything is made up in this lifetime. Or else everything is made up in this lifetime. Or else now, when Danny Milovojevic goes and really opens the door over here to understand that we have 50 million answers and questions and words and more of life, or else of life in this lifetime. Now, how does Danny understand only the word I only? Why does Danny teach you to understand that you can connect all these words together, but you only must know the word I anyway? Every single day, do you understand why Danny is teaching this? Because when you're going and connecting all these words together, yes, you're going to feel smart, and yes, you're going to feel that you have more vocabulary, but Danny just knows the word I only. Now, what does Danny want to say over here? I'm pretty sure Danny wants to say that, hey, you still must learn the word confidence. You still must learn everything about life. I still must learn about the word I. Or else, although I know the word I. Or else now, because I know the word I mean, do I have to learn the word I? I never have to learn the word I ever again. I just know the word I only. I promise you, every other word in the dictionary, I have to learn it much more. I still have to learn it. I mean, why? I have to be confident. I have to be everything much more to understand that once I know just the word I only, that it's just more enough for me to use all the other words with the word I. Whereas now, what sentence and what word does Danny use at the start of every sentence and at the end of every sentence? I promise you the word I promise you, although every single day, that when you look at this video and when you repeat it, you'll realize something about Danny Milivojevic in this video, and you'll understand that every single sentence he starts is with I and ends with I promise you now, if you just repeat this video in daily life again and again, you understand that this nice beautiful conversation is moving forward. I promise you, every single day, understand now that when I go and ask these questions, I'm focusing upon my life to teach you something. I promise you now, since you understand much more about vocabulary and life, I promise you there's so much more questions that I can give you. I promise you every single day now, since I give you a life coaching strategy now, I promise you now, you have the word I. I promise you now, since you have all this vocabulary, I promise you, what do you know? Whereas you must know the word I only. I promise you now, everything in life is the 10 Commandments, which is the word I only. I promise you now, the book, or as the book of the Bible and everything you see is the word I only. Or as now, since you understand every single day now that you are just the word I only, I promise you now, what is life? I mean, what is that word? I mean, I is life. I mean, I is everything. I mean, now, guess what? Or is that since you understand how to really talk now, and you understand how to really dwell upon life now, I've been teaching you and updating you and making sure that you answer all these questions for yourself. Alright, now, since you're answering all these questions for yourself, because I'm asking the questions to unlock your potential, that you find yourself and that you understand who you are better. I promise you, either way, you must understand that now, since I've taught you most aspects of life here, which is all aspects of life, I promise you, you must understand that the only aspect of life is what? Word. I promise you the word I promise you, that's it about this video. I promise you, every single day you must understand now, since Danny goes and does everything else, you guys must understand every single day, just know one word. You must know what word.